All right. Hello, everyone. It's Friday night. That means the Skeptical Health Bar is open. Oh, I am so excited. It's been a nice week. Hasn't been?
Yeah,
it's been a heat wave.
Bad. It's hot.
It was a heat wave. Holy crap! Working inside of a hangar, and it's like you look at the thermometer, and it says 90. I think it said 98.9 degrees inside where I was working. So not fun.
No.
Not fun. No rum. I mean, how they expect me to get any work done? Anyway, so we got a good show, I think. I'm hoping this is going to be a good show. Should be a good show. We got a guest tonight. I'm excited about that. But first, you guys know, you locals, you know we have to go over the rules. Let's go over the rules. So rule number 1 is you're welcome to ask questions because that's what we do here. We ask questions. We learn about stuff. It's going to be fun. But that leads me into my second rule is that I don't know everything. And sometimes, most of the time, my guest doesn't either. I mean, we don't know it all. So we might have to look things up. We might have to tell you, I don't know. I might write in my trusty notebook your name and get back to you when I do look it up and give you some kind of answer. Or I might have to just settle for I don't know, which is a perfectly acceptable answer as far as I'm concerned. Rule number 3 is that we follow the Patrick Swayze rule here. You can be in the chat room. You can discuss and just debate. You can disagree. That's cool. But do not escalate into name calling or trash talk. That's really, over the line. Or else Donna on the side here, Divine Donna, will boot your ass out of the chat room.
Yeah, I could go for a good booting.
I don't know how to take that. We're just going to run with it. So rule number 4 is that if you have a question, please do us a favor and put a Q in front of it, a capital Q. That helps Donna pick out the questions for later because the first part of the show will be a conversation between myself and the guest. And then after our official pee break halfway through, we will take questions from the viewers. And we'll try to get as many as we can within the hour. Sometimes we go over. Sometimes we just can't get to all the questions. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And the last rule, of course, is to drink up, everyone, because it's a bar. That's what we do here. We skeptic, we help, we bar. I don't know what that just came out weird. And on the side note, we do have our puppy is outside the door. She is you'll probably hear her barking because she's pissed off. But other than that, let me put up our special guest banner and bring on our guest, Mr. Pat Turner. Here we go. Oh, wait, add the stream, and there he is. What's up? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Kenny, man?
It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. I really appreciate it. I'm happy as I can be. I've got a dog too. It's barking at your dog. We have a dog war going.
Yeah,
I think we do.
Yeah,
that's great. All right, so my first question to every guest that we have on here is basically, what's your origin story? And I just want to know about who you are, how'd you get to be where you are? Because actually, I mean, before you answer that question, you did, let's see, darn, I don't drink, guess I'm not welcome here. Oh, yes, you are. Drinking is optional.
You can drink water.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Water. I mean, we didn't say it was alcohol. You can drink pretty much whatever you want. So, but you reached out to me first, and you came across me or my channel through another skeptic that I know that I have actually worked with.
Yeah, Rob Palmer.
Rob Palmer. Yeah. We've worked together, and we write for Skeptical Inquirer magazine, and we've done other projects together. So you came across me, emailed me, said we were two peas in a pod, and we're both skeptics. So I was intrigued, and I was like, you know what? Let's chat. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So in this realm, I swim the waters of the Bigfoot phenomena world, right?
Okay.
Much similar to how you swim the waters of the paranormal world. And we have our own branch of paranormal in the Bigfoot world, by the way. You and I could talk about that later, probably.
Okay.
Might be an interesting discussion. But I swim the waters of the Bigfoot world. As a skeptic, a critical thinker for sure. And my origin story is about 20 years ago, just having campfire discussions with a good friend of mine, Ernie, who ended up being my co-host for the first part of Squatch Talk when we started doing this about 5 years ago.
Oh, nice.
But 20 years ago, he and I played music together, and we were just sitting around a campfire one night and started talking about Bigfoot and and the conversation just led to why are people claiming to see these 8-foot tall monkey men in the woods? It seems like there's a lot of that. It's a decent anecdotal body there, even back then. Turns out it's actually a huge anecdotal body. And so we pondered it. We were interested in it. Of course, having at some point in our lives seen the PG film, the Patterson Gimlin film, and so the discussion led to more, being interested and intrigue and getting more involved, and through the years, that's kind of progressed into where I'm at now, which is about 5 years ago. I decided to start a podcast and talk about it in a reasonable way. Again, bringing the critical thinking hat and filter to the table, and have reasonable discussions about Bigfoot, especially realizing once I jumped in the Bigfoot pool, if you will, how much craziness there was to so on one hand, I'm like, there's something here that is interesting. And on the other hand, I'm like, the community could be a little wacky. So what's up with that? How do I square that circle? And, 150 shows later or whatever, man, my presence in the Bigfoot world now, that's where I'm at,
So you kind of straddle the fence and see what's going on. Do you go to like conferences or events?
I've been to one conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
I went to a Bigfoot conference in Virginia, the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference. Not this year, but the year before, 2021.
And what you think of it?
I mean, it's not. It's like being in the online community in real person. So it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And there's BS, there's hyper speculation, there's absolute craziness, there's some reason of thought, which is the minority. I was actually a presenter. I was a speaker at that conference. So the one and only conference I've ever been to, Bigfoot conference I've ever been to, I was a speaker at, actually. So
okay.
Yeah.
What'd you speak about?
I kind of gave I gave the more skeptical view. I really harped on what tactics aren't working and why, and what tactics should be employed and why. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little weird because I could see there were people in the crowd rolling their eyes, and that kind of messed with my head a little bit because I was in a in-person situation. I wasn't. Right. I didn't have the safety of this
sitting like hundreds of miles away from most of the people. Yeah, I get that.
The only person I can look in the eye right now is you.
Okay,
not 300 people or whatever. So
yeah, I'm having a hard time with that.
So I mean, when you're talking, I can totally relate. Because I speak at both science conferences. I speak at humanist events. I speak at paranormal events, and I haven't spoken at I've been to a couple Bigfoot events. We've been to one better. Well, that's where my shirt's from. We went to one out in what was it? Pittsburgh area, right? That's where it was.
Yeah.
It was a camping weekend, and you go out, and there was all the Bigfoot community came together. It was a big event. We went out there a couple times, and I get it. I mean, being, I guess for lack of a better word, the oddball. And I usually use the metaphor of the goldfish in a piranha pond, because that's what I usually feel like. I'm talking about science. I'm talking about skepticism. I'm talking about things that you don't often see in these communities. There's a lot of pseudoscience, and there's a lot of people that believe that they're doing science, but they don't realize that they're really not. And
amen, brother.
When we go, like, I know when I go, I'm not there to point fingers and go like, haha, you're wrong, or anything like that. That's not my objective. My objective is to pass along some really good, solid information and methodology and tips and tricks, just like you were mentioning, like tactics, good tactics, bad tactics, in order to improve the quality of their work. And I think that's important. And I think it's really important that we talk and work together, and not have that hostility that we often see. What do you think?
I agree. I don't like hostility, although I've become a controversial person in the Bigfoot world, because, all right, so this is where you and I are going to get into a lot of things that we understand together, commonalities. To speak out, like, so to call out hoaxers. Yeah. Right. So you come across something that's just an absolute hoax, or it's or it could be something that I refer to, the way I put it in the Bigfoot world is when you smother something in Bigfoot sauce, right? So you take a real event, and all you do is pour Bigfoot sauce. So narrative, so false narrative, hoaxes, things that are just not good for moving the ball down the field towards any kind of real discovery.
Right.
I call that out. And that makes me controversial. And believe it or not, I mean, just the word critical thinking is controversial in the Bigfoot world.
I don't have much experience. Like I said, I mean, I think we only went to, I think there was two or three events that we went out to.
Yeah, I think it was only two, really.
2 conferences that we went out to. There was I went out for a weekend with a local television show that went out, and it was more or less I was going out to be the token skeptic. Although I know the people, I knew the people that are filming, so they were friends of mine. So I did make sure, I had a say in what was going to be edited. But it was more they weren't bringing me out just to have a quote unquote token skeptic. They were bringing me out because I do offer some good information, and I can look at things. I have a background in photography. I have a background in video editing. So I can look at alleged evidence and point out some issues, or point out exactly what I see. And then I love to recreate. So I can offer that. And I think across the board, whether we're talking about ghosts, hauntings, Bigfoot, cryptids, UFOs, aliens, whatever, a mystery is a mystery. And there is a methodology that is not exactly the same, but there is a methodology that you can follow in order to try to solve that mystery. And that's what we try to do. Like I did watch, I didn't have time to watch all your videos, but I did watch one where you were, it was at the trail cam Bigfoot. It was a picture of it, like a driveway, and you were going through, and you were looking at it bit by bit and trying to deconstruct it. And I think that was good. That was a good way to do it. That was a good way to look at it, instead of just accepting it because it might look like a Bigfoot creature.
Right. Yeah.
What we think is a Bigfoot. Don't accept it at face value. Let's break it down. Let's step back and take a hard look at it, and then go from there.
Yes. And to this day, even right now, I'm like 85% convinced it's an owl that flew in front of the game camera.
Right.
Right. And it's just one of those weird things that can happen with a moment in time captured on a crappy camera.
Yeah.
And pareidolia takes over. You know,
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I saw it, because I saw it, it was actually brought up at an event, and when I talked to Steve Coles, I talked to him,
and I'm friends with Steve.
yeah,
And,
he's been
and
on
he
the show.
He investigated it, and he was kind of leaning towards Bigfoot, and I was opposed to him on that. You know,
Yeah, I see an owl. I totally see the back of an owl coming in like over the camera. So
yes,
like I'm going to use my Grogu here for my Star Wars nerds out there, but literally coming over the camera like this,
like that. That's exactly
and that's what you're catching. I mean, it's
exactly what I see too.
Yeah,
Kenny.
everything fits. Everything really fits on that, and your breakdown it brought up some good points, and I agree with a lot of it. But I think that's what these communities need. You know, not someone that's going to be a dick about it, not someone that's going to be very confrontational or constantly telling you that people are stupid or dumb. I hate that. I really despise when people do that. I want to have a conversation. I want to work together to make sure that if you're going to bring out evidence or evidence to the effect that Bigfoot exists, then we need to filter out every single possible thing that we can think of collectively and present something that is just we don't know.
Yeah, it's called a reasonable discussion.
Yes.
And we can disagree.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, I'm all about disagreeing and having a reasonable discussion. I've done it. Hell, I've done it before. I mean, I've been on modern day debating flat earthers. You know, like, and I found a way to make that a reasonable discussion.
Yeah.
And I debated primatologists about Bigfoot, and I found a way to make that a reasonable discussion. It was never even a debate at all.
Right.
You know,
and that's the way it should be. I mean, like I love talking about this stuff. I'm definitely on the skeptical side. I mean, I write for Skeptical Inquirer magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely tells you something. But I like having that friendly conversation. I mean, we go to paranormal we probably go to more paranormal conferences than we do science conferences. Just because, I mean, well, one, paranormal people can drink, you know, and they can drink and they love the party. So we love doing that. But it's to show that we're not against you. We're trying to help. We want to be part of this. Let's look at things together. So I like your skeptical attitude. I like the critical thinking that you're bringing to it. So why don't you tell us, like, what's one of the cases that you've worked on where you've been able to really pick it apart, and not in a bad way, but pick it apart to finally realize, you know, this isn't a Bigfoot. This is X. Oh,
sure. Yeah, I can give you a pretty good example of that. So most of this happens in the online sphere.
Okay.
And again, I'll get to that. Marching around the woods with Bigfooters is not something that I do. I will do it, but that's not a common thing in my life. Okay. So there was a guy, he pretty popular Bigfoot channel. I think like one of his most popular video has 2 or 3 million views. His name's Thinkerthunker.
Wait, what was that?
Thinkerthunker.
Thinkerthunker.
Wow.
Yes.
That could get you in trouble.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
Thinkerthunker. His most popular video probably had, 3 million views, something like that.
That's nice. Like that.
He probably made a chunk of chain off that. But anyway, years later, he starts putting out like obviously bad content, and again, Bigfoot sauce. Hey, if I put the Bigfoot narrative on it, people will gobble it up, right? Okay. And it was drone footage of a probably about 80-foot tall pine tree that was like shaking, right?
Okay.
It it was obviously a feller buncher. Like a feller buncher, which is it's a machine that cuts down trees. Like,
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
What?
Wait, I thought it was a follower for the Thinker Thunker.
No. So what?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. What you see in the video is obviously, even though you can't see the machine, it's obviously a feller buncher. What it does is it's a big, bulldozer type machine that it grabs the tree, has a saw down here, cuts the tree, and it can carry a 10,000 pound, 80-foot tall pine tree. Like, it could carry it, 100 yards if it wanted to, upright. Very powerful machine. It's obviously what it was. I knew this.
Here we go.
Oh yeah. Well, yep. That's a feller buncher.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so in case you can't visualize it, there it is. That's cool. All right. I like it.
Right. So Thinker Thunker put out a video that somebody had put on YouTube or whatever. And again, Bigfoot narrative. A lot of these people are trolls. The people that will put stuff that, is supposed to be Bigfoot stuff, they're just trolls. Like, they're just trying to get a rise out of the Bigfoot world or a lot of views or whatever. And so Thinker Thunker took the bait and made a whole video about it, why it's Bigfoot, and he gets into all kinds of detail and stuff, and it's so obviously, I mean, even if an 8-foot tall, let's say 1,000-pound monkey man exists, can it pick up a pine tree and hold it straight up in the air? No, that's paranormal stuff. That doesn't meet the laws of physics as we know it, right? That's like saying a gorilla could pick up an Abrams tank with one hand and flip it over, right? That's kind of silly.
We all know that only Wonder Woman can.
Right.
We saw that in the movie.
Oh, wow. I made a reference I've never even seen. That's kind of crazy. I didn't see the Wonder Woman movies, but anyway, so he does this detailed breakdown why it's probably Bigfoot doing it and all this stuff. And I called him out on it. I made my own video. I put the call out. And sure enough, man, somebody more tech savvy than me found the original video in HD quality and found the feller buncher arm in the video. And he had to retract the video. He retracted it.
Wow.
So we busted him. Me and my audience together busted.
Good job.
Debunked
That's good.
that video. And for whatever that's worth, a retraction meant the world to me. So I don't, how many people saw the retraction and changed their minds or became more of a critical thinking, like whatever. All I know is that I made the guy retract.
Was the retraction, was it just deleting the video, or did he actually put something up?
No, he actually put out content.
Okay, cool.
Saying I was wrong. It turns out there is this machine called a feller buncher, and that's what it was. It wasn't Bigfoot. So it was a full retraction, and I give him credit, all the credit in the world for that.
Absolutely. I mean, that takes a lot. I mean, it's very hard, and this is something we've discussed on this show before, that it's extremely hard to admit when you're wrong, and especially when you're invested in something that is very. I mean, it's almost like a religion, some of this stuff, because the beliefs are so strong, and people are emotionally attached. So when they've made up their mind, and this is all of us. I'm not just talking about other people. Yes, exactly, Tiffany. It's when you can stop and go, you know what, I was wrong, instead of the alternative of firing back and getting pissed off and digging your heels in and just, fighting and being mean, but being able to say, hey, you're right. I looked at it. You presented good evidence, and I have to look at it and I have to accept it because it's valid, and I was wrong. I mean, that's definitely.
No, I give him credit for that. He still tends to lean towards the content creation, Bigfoot sauce, but this one's so egregious to me that, I had to call it out. And I got no beef with Thinker. I have no beef with anybody, dude. But again, Kenny, this is why I am a controversial person, because even saying the words critical thinking will get, just last night I had somebody, chastise me because I was in chat and they knew who I was and they were like, "Oh, the thinkers." Like that's a bad thing.
That's how they call it. Thinkers.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And it is what it is, dude. And
Yeah.
I'm not here to be, I don't know, how would you say it? Like, I don't want to bring politics into it, but I'm not here to be, Tucker Carlson in the Bigfoot world or anybody like that. I call balls and strikes like I see them. Like,
Right.
Don't you, Kenny?
Yeah.
No, yeah, Kenny does.
I don't hold. So and the locals know this, but in the beginning when I went, because I started out as a ghost hunter, so I was on a ghost hunting team. I had my own group, and we went out and explored haunted places and thought every piece of dust was a ghost, and I believed in everything. And then the more I learned about photography, because I actually got into that as a business, the more I learned about it, the more I understood what was going on, how this alleged evidence was captured, and why people believed it was evidence for ghosts and afterlife. So yeah, I had an angry phase where I was a dick, and I freely admit that now. There was a part of me that was just angry at myself, and I took it out on other people. But then I realized that doesn't work. That does not work for me. It doesn't benefit anyone. So the better approach is just to talk. If you have a question, let's talk about it. If you don't like what I said, let's talk about it. If you hoax something, I'm going to call you out. We can still talk about it, but I'm still calling you out. And then for me, like, I live by the idea that the burden of proof is on the one making the claim. So that applies to everyone, whether you're the one saying you saw a ghost, whether you're the one saying you saw a Bigfoot, or whether you're the one saying that person that captured a Bigfoot is it's a hoax. If you're claiming it's a hoax, then you need to have proof. You need to have evidence of that. So whenever I do that, when I do call people out, I need to have everything, especially because I do write for a magazine, a science magazine, and it does go through editors and researchers to check my work.
Right.
And also, if I'm specifically calling someone out by name, it goes through the lawyer. So I have to make sure all my I's are dotted, all my T's are crossed, and like every little detail is in line. So, and
I don't have to deal with lawyers. I just YouTube. I can say what I want.
You can still get in trouble.
Yeah,
so
you can.
Be aware. You still get in trouble for that,
right?
Because there's still things they can do. If we want, we can look at Alex Jones, the recent trials with that. If everybody's following that, anyone's following that. I have. He's the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah,
and with the Sandy
Hook, all that. Yeah. So dumb.
Yeah. So, but to keep it off that topic though, but
definitely.
I get it. Hoaxers. I think it's our responsibility to call them out. Do you agree?
Well, it feels that way to me, right? So I'm definitely compelled. It's kind of like a moth to the flame.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I don't want to waste too much energy doing it. I will really only deal with it when I think it's big enough. So otherwise, I'll just put in the comment on the post on Facebook, "Oh, that's BS, and here's why," and maybe provide a link if I'm up to date on what's being presented. And that's as good as that's ever gonna get. But yeah, if it's a big channel, doing some big, not just hoaxing, but again, the narrative. The narrative. If the narrative is way off, I will call that out in a heartbeat.
Right.
And I did that recently with the Dennis Martin case about a 9-year-old boy that went missing in 1969, I think it was. And it gets Bigfoot sauce poured all over it. I don't like that. That's not good for the truth. It's important to understand the reality of the world you live in. And when you smother, Bigfoot, kidnaps little 9-year-old boys and kills them. I mean, like, that's not good for anybody.
No. And I mean, what's the proof? What's the evidence of this? That a Bigfoot did it? Zero.
Again, it's nothing but narrative.
Yeah.
Nothing but narrative. And sometimes they'll change the story purposely. Right? So lying. So then that becomes lying about the actual facts to make it look like a Bigfoot event.
Right.
When in fact, nothing like that ever happened in the facts.
I want to just address this comment real quick.
Sure.
Burden of proof swings both ways. So I'm not sure what you mean by this. The burden of proof is on the one making the claim. That's the general rule. Right. So I don't know if you're agreeing with me or like what I said about, if you're calling out a hoax, the burden of proof is on you. So I don't know if that's what you mean or not. But it is, whoever's making the claim, the burden of proof is on them. Whether I'm saying you're hoaxing it, you're lying, it's up to me to prove that, to supply evidence and data for that. If
or
you're saying,
at least make a compelling counter argument, at the very least.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's just something that you need to bring a good argument to it. But you need the burden of proof. You need to be able to prove that either this is true or there's a reasonable doubt for that claim. And then, then it's open to more discussion. But I'm not sure. I just wanted to clarify, at least from my part, what that means. So if that's what you were talking about, Hive Science, which is awesome name, by the way, then awesome. Cool. All right. So have you been on any Bigfoot hunts, like going out on investigations? Whatever they call them. I don't know what they call them. Like,
okay,
outings?
so it's called camping in the woods.
Okay.
And I've done that many, many times in my life. So, these things are more social than they are anything else. There are some hardcore serious people that actually try, right?
I love it. I love it.
That was good.
Like they look for evidence of Bigfoot. I don't go out in the woods to look for evidence of Bigfoot. I go out in the woods to enjoy myself. So I don't have Bigfoot on the brain when I'm in the woods. Now, would I go on an expedition? Sure, I would. I would do that. But like, would I create an expedition? No.
So if there's Bigfoot hunters out there, and I don't know what the term is, but Bigfoot people, if you're out there and you have a group and you go out regularly and you're close by, and they said, hey, come with us. We'll take you out on what we do. You'd be up for that.
I would be up for it if I had the time for it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a busy person, man. I'm not. I don't mean like I'm the most important person in the world, other than I have my life to live.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
And I don't consider marching around in the woods looking for Bigfoot a good tactic. So I have that kind of aspect to bring to the table too.
This is a good point of conversation. So my view, I would do it because, and I've done it plenty of times with all three of the big three: UFOs, cryptids, and ghosts.
Yeah.
I go out because I want to. I first there's that I don't know what you would call it, but usually when I'm invited out, it's because they want to show me. Like the group is convinced that if I go with them, I'm going to have an experience that's going to change my mind, and I am all for it. Yes, sign me up. When do we go? And as long as my schedule is clear, I am there. So thank you, Squatch Bait. So I would definitely go, and I want to go because see what they want to prove to me, and if it really does happen. But then also I want to see what they're doing. I want to observe how they go about their research.
Yeah.
Is it really research, or is it? And I'm not being insulting here, but is it just camping? Is it going into camping with the added idea that there was Bigfoot sightings here, so maybe we'll see it? I don't know.
It's not research. It's mostly camping. It's camaraderie. It's the way I put it is it's this let's go out in the woods and play Bigfoot. It's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
And I say that as a guy that just said that I don't go on a lot of get-togethers. I've only officially ever been on one. It's what I see from the community, online community.
Okay.
So it's kind of my judgment based on that. So it is a subjective opinion, but yeah, that's what it comes across as. And where's the evidence? Right? I'll tell you this right now, Kenny. There's maybe a couple hundred people looking for Bigfoot in the woods. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like your ghost guys, right?
Right.
You know how they're hyper focused. They're like really into it, right? We're gonna go to this cemetery. We're going to go to this abandoned building, whatever it is, right?
Okay.
And they'll do that. They'll do that stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll take all their,
gadgets and stuff,
spectrometers and digital readers and spirit boxes and all that crap. And they'll actually do it. There's maybe a few hundred people in the Bigfoot world that actually go out in the woods looking for evidence.
Okay.
I
mean, I don't, so I'm not too involved. I mean, I do talk to a few people that are involved with that actively research what's going on or sightings, actually. Any sightings that come in, they actively research it. They go to the place. A friend of mine, Eric Altman, who is out in the Pittsburgh area, he was, I don't know if he's doing it anymore. He's had some personal issues. I think he's done for a while, but he used to go out to the location. And once in a while he calls me, asks me a question, run something by me, but I've been out with him a few times. And it's yeah, I mean, I would have to agree, for the most part, it's been camping or hiking. It's basically hiking in the dark. And I haven't been on a Bigfoot hunt, I guess, during the day. I don't know why. They've all taken place at night, which just doesn't make sense, because hypothetically, if we're dealing with an 8 to 10 foot huge bipedal creature, I want to see it coming from as far away as possible. I want to make sure I know where I'm going, because if this thing gets pissed off at me or wants to eat me, I want to be able to run and see where I'm going, not run around in the dark. It's the other red meat. Yeah, exactly.
It's all too random. So to say you're gonna go look for any one of those phenomena, let's say the three big ones you just brought up: cryptid, UFO, or ghosts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that phenomena is random. It's like there is no, I'm going to be here at this place at this time and witness this spectacular event happen.
Okay.
It's all random, right? I mean,
that's what it seems like.
Yeah. So
it really does.
all we have to go off for most of this, for the vast majority of even all three of them, is anecdotal account.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all random. The vast majority of the people that give their anecdote don't ever start their encounter off with, well, I was looking for a ghost and this is what happened. Or I was looking for UFOs and this is what happened. I was looking for Bigfoot and this is what happened. It just happens to people like randomly. All those phenomena just kind of happens, you know.
I think it's the same across the board, you know, even though like ghost hunters go to a more localized area. So instead of like acres and acres of woods, they go to maybe one building.
Specific places.
Yeah, it's localized, but it's still random. They're simply walking around, and I call it a stakeout. They usually go and they set up equipment and they wait for something to happen, but it's random. Nothing is ever predictable. It's completely random. With Bigfoot, you're going out to this much larger area, and like you said, I really didn't think of it as camping before, but it is, because
it is.
We sat around the campfire for a little bit around our cabin, and then
that's all we did, and we hiked through the woods for a little while.
I mean, when we didn't drink,
banged on some trees.
We walked through the woods on a trail and went off the trail a little bit. Like at one point, I stayed behind just to see, you know, like, well, maybe if I separate myself from the pack, maybe something will happen. Maybe I'll look like that. Hey, he separated. I'll go after him, waiting for something to happen. But again, it was random. No one knew what would actually happen, how to make something happen. The wood knocks. We should talk about that. I'd like your opinion on that.
We'll get to that. I like where you're going with this thought, though. That you're there, you're purposely staying behind. So again, it's like, why are you there? Or who are you observing? Are you observing the people that claim they can, you know, or are you actually trying to elicit an encounter?
Both.
You know,
for me, it's both.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I want to. my priority is always to observe what's happening. So that includes everything. I want to know what these people are doing. And when I say people, I'm not trying to be derogatory in any way, but I don't really consider many of them researchers, because if you're camping or hiking, you're not researching. You're having fun in the woods. Just like when ghost hunters go to a haunted house, they're hanging out at a house, just having fun. And they're not really researching. They're not actively trying to solve a mystery here. They are waiting for something to happen.
Right.
So that's my priority, to see what's going on, how they're conducting themselves, how their beliefs or biases come out. And then always in the back of my mind, like, what if this is true? What if there is some kind of 8 to 10 foot creature out here that resembles the common description of a Bigfoot? I want to see it. I totally want to see it. I want to have that encounter. I mean, I'm going to be cautious, of course, because, you know, this thing is all the descriptions say this thing will kick my ass in no time flat. So I want to be careful, but I still want to see it. And I just don't see the research. I mean, no one's, and this is my personal experience, no one's ever collected any samples of anything. I have not observed that. I know that there are people out there that have claimed to have samples, like hair samples or scat samples and stuff. But I mean, that one big study, and it escapes me the name of it right now, but it was a few years back where there was a big call for the best evidence. Like, send us your evidence. We're going to do DNA testing. And
the Ketchum study.
No, not the Ketchum study. Sorry, Ketchum.
Okay,
is a waste of time for me.
Sykes.
It was the so it's a big one in it, and what it found was like a hybrid polar bear.
Yeah, that's the Brian Sykes.
So that was the biggest thing there, and nothing came up that matched a Bigfoot. And I mean, I know not everyone sent in their stuff, but that was supposed to be the best. Like that was the opportunity.
Well, I mean, Sykes has passed away. You know, he's not with us anymore. That was somewhat of a serious attempt. It was also mixed with entertainment, unfortunately. It turned into a Discovery Channel series, right?
I have to look it up because I remember going through it, but it's been so many years. So let me see if I can.
Find... and also, by the way, the whole thing that turned out with the polar bear, like that was both BS on his part, saying that. Like, so there was like that whole thing turned into a false narrative from his end. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy with that, and of course there was no Bigfoot involved. Like there was no Bigfoot, in that. But yeah, right. Like that whole thing was done very production for entertainment purposes, I would say.
I don't like. I really need to go through it again. I'm almost. I almost regret bringing it up because I have not gone into it. Not researched it.
I mean, it's okay, dude. We don't have to. We do not have to go down the Sykes rabbit hole right now. It's just I'm just kind of going off what I know about it. Is that that was all entertainment purposes only, no matter what kind of thing. Like,
well, I mean, that I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to agree with that because.
Well, he covered by a lot of science magazines. He did do a legitimate call for where's your best evidence. All that got picked up by Discovery and turned into a TV show.
Right.
And so once TV gets involved, and I would say proof in the pudding is the whole polar bear thing that you brought up, which turned out to be complete BS narrative. That Sykes actually voiced himself some BS about that. It was not like the TV show made it sound to be some great discovery. It was actually just a branch from, 50,000 years ago. It was no big deal. Like everybody in the scientific world was like, "This is not a big deal. Why are you presenting to the public like it's some big deal?"
Well, I mean, and this is where we're gonna disagree because from what I read, it was a big deal. This hybrid was not something that came up for entertainment. It was actually something that they discovered, and they didn't think was they knew about it beforehand, but they didn't think any existed today. So that's why it was a big deal.
And
but
maybe
again, I want to look into this a little bit more because
maybe there was a more narrow window for a big deal. I think the problem was how it was presented as a head scratcher when it when, as you just said, it wasn't a head scratcher to the understanding of branches of polar bear. Again, I think where I'm coming from was the presentation was not well done.
So I mean, you can have different presentations. If the media picks up on it, I'm not a fan of media hype before a paper is published because you get that unpublished bias. You get that the headline that wants to just grab your clicks. So I can understand that point of view. But again, I really need to read a little bit more into this.
Sure.
Because it's been a few years.
I will also, Kenny, admit, dude, I am not qualified to represent that whole window that we're talking about with the polar bear stuff.
Right.
I'm not qualified to represent that accurately.
I'm trying because it was published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society. But the links that I have don't work. So I'm going to look that up later. And I have it written down in my notes so I can go get back to it. I'm going to try and look it up this weekend.
I'm just kind of going. I'm going off the sort of the reading and also conversations that I've heard of other professionals who are qualified to talk about it. I'm not qualified to go too deep into that. So I don't want to get into minutia. Like, dude, we shouldn't do that. Yeah.
No problem. I mean, it's healthy to discuss things like this. I mean, I don't mind. It's okay to disagree. Like, I don't mind if you disagree with me or if I disagree with you. It doesn't bother me at all, because that's how we progress. That's how we learn. Because if we agree on everything tonight, this is a good conversation. Don't get me wrong. It's a good conversation, but there's very little progression. Like, we will be pretty much preaching to each other. But when we do have a disagreement, it leads to, hey, I need to look this up, and I need to make sure what I'm saying, because I don't know, you don't know, we don't. It's been a few years, so I think it's healthy like this. I love doing this kind of stuff.
Me too.
I mean, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but
I'm not uncomfortable at all.
Okay,
I think I don't want to get into the minutia of that particular thing.
Okay.
And we've addressed it, and it'll play out one way or another.
Oh yeah. I'm going to follow up with this because it's interesting, and my lack of knowledge is now bothering me. My OCD is kicking in, and now it's like, I'm gonna be up late tonight reading the study. I'm going to find the study and read it.
Sure. And again, I'm only opining about it from my casual knowledge of it. So I don't come here as an expert of those studies and the polar bear branches and all that. Like, it's just casual knowledge. So I freely admit that.
Let me ask you directly then. The $1 million question for tonight.
Sure. Which
none of us have $1 million, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you believe Bigfoot exists?
Okay, so believe. Nope.
Okay.
That word does not belong in the subject. Believe requires faith. And so that's how I approach the word believe when it comes to the Bigfoot phenomena.
Okay.
It is not a matter of faith or belief. It is only a matter of science and fact and observation. That's it.
Okay.
So
let me rephrase then.
Okay.
Do you think, based on what you've seen, learned, or pondered over the years, do you think Bigfoot or Sasquatch, as I'm seeing in the chat room, exists?
Okay, so what we call colloquially the word Bigfoot or Sasquatch, the phenomena is 100% real. 100% real. It is there. The phenomena exists. I don't have an explanation. So I'm not here to give an absolute explanation as to what that phenomena is. But the phenomena is 100% real. For some reason, people are seeing 8-foot-tall monkey men in the woods. So my head scratching 20 years ago has led me down this road to, this is legit. There's something going on here. I can't say what it is. I can opine. I can, hypothesize, like what I think the best answer would be. But the Bigfoot phenomena is 100% real and has yet to be explained. No skeptic has explained it, including me. I can't explain it. I can hypothesize. But that takes, obviously, dude, I got to deploy some hardcore scientific method. I got no scientific method people on my side, man. Like,
I like how you put that. So
yeah,
you put it in a way that you're not answering the question directly. I think you're I don't know how to say it, but you're using the word phenomena rather than,
because that's what it is.
I get it. It's like a pop culture thing.
But no. It is a legitimate phenomena. It is. It's not Justin Bieber phenomenon, which is what that would be.
That's totally different subject.
Yeah, right.
We
That
don't
would
even
be
cover that here.
That's what we say, a phenomenon. But it is a legit phenomenon. It's so is. I'll throw it out there. Like, so is, ghost stuff and UFOs. Those are legitimate phenomena. Those things are happening. I'm not saying what they are, but with Bigfoot, it is 100% to be at this point. There's a reason why tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of people are seeing 8-foot tall monkey men in the woods, which makes no sense.
I guess the issue with that is we haven't determined that that all of these people are seeing an 8-foot tall monkey person.
The commonalities are enough to put into the tens of thousands. Yeah,
but we're going off of people's anecdotes,
right?
Their stories,
anecdotal body, which is not evidence. To be clear, I am not bringing evidence to the table. What I'm saying is there's a huge enough anecdotal body to say this is something that's occurring.
Something is happening. Yeah,
two people that they are seeing commonly what is described as an 8-foot tall monkey man is the way I describe it. Some human features, some monkey features, sometimes bipedal, walk on 2 feet. They stand upright, walk on 2 feet, about 8 feet tall, 4 foot wide shoulders, pretty big. That's happening, and that yet has no explanation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna disagree on the what's the word? I would say that that's what's being reported anecdotally, but are they really seeing that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So if they're not seeing that, which I'm talking about, a lot of these encounters that are 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet in your face, pretty clear. They go way outside the scope of misidentification. So in other words,
why?
Because you're not going to misidentify a bear at 20 feet as a 8-foot tall monkey man, right? You're not going to misidentify a guy in a ghillie suit. You're not going to misidentify somebody in a costume. Those aren't realistic scenarios for misidentification on a huge body of anecdote. That's actually more absurd than the phenomena itself.
I don't. Again, it's very difficult to debate this specific portion of the topic because we have to know what circumstances are involved, what conditions are involved. Are the people completely sober when this happens?
Yeah, most are 100% sober.
Again, most are sober by their own account.
Define sober.
Not drunk or under the influence of drugs.
Okay, drunk does not. People do. Contrary to popular belief, with the bar scale, people do not hallucinate under the influence of alcohol.
It's not about hallucination. It's misidentifying.
Okay, so we're talking broad daylight, 8-foot tall, 4 foot wide shoulders. I don't care how drunk you are, you're gonna sober up real quick.
I'm laughing because it's a funny way to put it. But
it's true.
It doesn't happen that way. And we both know that you don't sober up just because you're scared of something. The intoxication, the chemical reaction just doesn't go away because you're scared. It's more so.
Minutia. Like,
I mean,
I've been in stressful situations where I was intoxicated, where, yeah, I would say I sobered up pretty quick. In other words, my thinking changed from, drunk thinking to smart thinking pretty fast, observationally. Anyway, like, my point is this, dude. I don't care how drunk you are. If you see something like that standing in front of you, that's what you're looking at. It's not a hallucination.
Okay.
So
again,
under the influence of what else? Marijuana?
I mean, I'm not saying it's a hallucination.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not bringing that up. I'm saying misidentifying by whether it's 20 feet or 50 feet away. Judging different distance is extremely difficult when you're not actually measuring it.
Right, but you're not at 20 feet. You are not going to misidentify a bear from a giraffe.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they might mismeasure. They might not. It might not be 20 feet away. It might be 50 or 100 feet away.
No, they're not going to get it off by that much. You know it's 20 feet in front of you as opposed to 50 or 100.
Well,
everyone knows that.
I'm going to disagree.
Not really.
I'm going to disagree because that's an assumption.
So if I put a car 20 feet in front of you, are you going to get that wrong? If I put 100 feet away, are you going to get that? Are you going to misjudge it that much?
Depends on what you have to go to the situation. I mean, if you know it's 20 feet in front of you, you're going to say 20 feet. But if you have a person that's out in the
without
woods
knowledge,
and you can't judge distance just by eyeballing it.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Well,
not everybody.
You can assume, and you might get close.
Is your computer 4 feet in front of you right now, or 40?
So now you're going to extremes.
Well, that's just what we were talking about. That's what we were talking about.
No, we're talking about 20 feet to 50 feet.
50 feet, 100 feet. Yeah. So that's the extreme that I'm saying you are talking about.
All right. Yeah. All right. So let's take our pee break because we're at an hour, and we will relieve some things and then fill other things up like our cups, but not with the first thing. We will come back and we will take viewer questions because the second hour is everyone's questions. It's your time. So we do have a bunch of questions saved for you. So I hope you're ready.
I am ready.
All right. So again, we got 3 minutes from the, let me get the video up here because there you go. All right, there it is. All right. So we have 3 minutes, give or take, from now.
Do satanic cults lurk in the shadows? Can memories of satanic ritual abuse be repressed? Do exorcisms really drive out demons? And are those demons always possessing Zach Baggins? I'm JD Sword, the Satanic Skeptic. Join me on The Devil in the Details as I examine these questions and more, bringing a skeptical and satanic perspective to the paranormal. The Devil in the Details, available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and more.
Jetman for us. Jetman for us. Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Are you tortured by what you see and hear about the paranormal field? Join us as we critically examine and question paranormal claims, science, ghosts, demons, cryptids, UFOs, ghost hunting technology, and much more are all on the table for discussion. 3 Tortured Souls is a video podcast that streams live on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 Pacific.
3 Tortured Souls.
All right. Oh, that was nice. I love that. And you know, when I started this show, I had like a 30-second break, and it was not long enough.
Oh, of course not.
Not long enough. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I
Yeah.
don't know about you. Like I have the routine where I run downstairs because this office is on the second floor of the house. So I run downstairs to the kitchen, fill up my cup first, and then I come up, run into the bathroom, which is the next room over, so that I can hear the commercial and be like, all right, I have time.
Right. Yeah. The audio, the cue.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the second hour is for viewer questions. This is when everyone in the bar gets to have a chance to ask a question. So we will take some of the questions. We have a bunch start off, and I will advise or forewarn everyone that if we go long, like if we take a lot of time on some questions and at the end we still have a bunch, we will do a shotgun round where we basically, it's like a lightning round. We just hit them and you give quick answers right away, but we
Right.
can follow up later.
Sure. Yeah. No problem.
All
I'm
right.
down.
So Divine Donna, let's see what we got. John Kennedy. What's up, John? Has Bigfoot ever showed up to his own conference?
Well, of course not. Obviously, there would have been media involved. So, unfortunately, that has not happened. Yeah.
No. I've tried. I mean, I love it. Is that a Bigfoot sightings on? Are they Bigfoot sightings on the map behind you?
No.
Yeah, what is that?
This is an aeronautical chart. So that's for navigating in an airplane.
Are you a pilot?
I'm a remote pilot.
Remote? Oh, wait, like drones? What do you do?
Yeah. FAA Part 107 certification.
Wow, interesting.
Yep.
So I don't know. Can you discuss like what do you do? What kind of work do you do with that?
It's mostly artistic. I do want to implement it into the tactics, the better tactics for observing the Bigfoot phenomena. Unfortunately, it's about a $10,000 investment.
Wow.
For that capability, advanced thermal drones.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a drone guy. I do fly. I can fly an airplane. So I'm an aerial person, and yeah,
it's cool.
So yeah, that's what that is. It's not a Bigfoot sightings map. It's called a regional sectional chart for navigating airspace. Yeah,
cool. I build helicopters for a living, so I don't get to fly too much, but once in a while I've been out.
So you're a flyer again. 2 peas in a pod. I was right.
All right. What else we got, Melissa? What are your thoughts on Nessie? Oh.
Not much.
These questions can be all over the place. Just to warn you, they might have nothing to do with Bigfoot, but what about
not
Nessie?
much? I mean, obviously, a lot of the Nessie stuff has been debunked up like a long time ago. The infamous picture turned out to be a toy in the water, right?
Yeah.
So and wow, a whole thing was built just off that. Kind of scary.
Yeah.
But as far as what is Nessie is, the lake has been pretty thoroughly examined from top to bottom several times, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually did an eDNA study that found some kind of eel presence they didn't know was there.
Yeah.
And so and again, I think sturgeon can get in and out of those locks, or I think sturgeon are in the lake. And if you ever seen a freaking sturgeon, man, that's Nessie right there. They're monsters, So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I mean, I love that legend myself, and I don't think there's anything there, but I still, it's on my bucket list. I still want to go and visit the lock, just to see it,
Amen, brother.
Toxic Avenger. I love that movie. I just want to say that. Awesome movie. Pat, why don't you share your personal experience with the knocking in the woods?
Yeah, so I did. I did have I have one personal anecdote that I can't explain very well. That did involve knocking on trees close to my campsite. And my reaction to it was bizarre looking back at it, looking like after the fact. The way I reacted to that was very bizarre. So I can't explain what happened to me that night. It was kind of strange.
Like, what are you talking, like psychologically or?
No, I can't explain like the sounds I was hearing, like what was making the sounds. It
So
wasn't. I can easily dismiss people from that equation, given the location, and the fact that I was armed. There's all kinds of reasons I can, like, low probability that there was a person messing with me, given the location and the topography.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what was making those sounds that night. It wasn't natural either, and there were some things that led up to it. It's a long
story.
It's a longer story than you and I want to get into here.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it another time.
All right,
We'll get
sure.
into that.
Sure.
Okay. What else we got here? Jim, Pat mentioned not hunting, but chilling in the woods without considering Bigfoot. And the hunters go out with the sole thought of finding Bigfoot. Does that not make Pat a control for the comparison of what happens in the woods? Huh.
Maybe. I mean, that's not a bad.
It's not too bad.
statement.
If you're not going out there actively looking, you're just going out camping. But then again, that would just, by that logic, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but by that logic, every camper, most every camper is a control, based on that, because most people that are going camping are not going out looking for Bigfoot. They are camping.
And most people that go camping do not have what we would call a Bigfoot encounter. So
Yeah,
I could say that, like, yeah, most people that go camping don't, have that experience. So it's a very low percentage of people out in the woods. I mean, think about how many people you think are going to be out in the woods this weekend. 1 million, probably, easily 1 million across the US.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So are we gonna get, like 200,000 Bigfoot reports tomorrow? No.
Right.
But yeah, what happened to me? What happened? Yeah, what happened to me? I was just out there camping. I wasn't looking for Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I'm not saying it was the Bigfoot that did that. So.
Redman says, "Are there any UFC unidentified hairy creatures claims that involve UFOs say frequently visit a property regularly?" Oh, I guess, do any Bigfoot regularly visit a specific property?
Yeah,
like a private property.
Yeah, there's a lot of claims of that. I say a lot, whatever percentage it is. Those claims are out there. They've never been properly vetted. Some of them have been vetted, but not actually researched good enough to ever get, headline news breaking evidence. So yeah, people claim, and some of those people are full of crap. Some of those people may not be full of crap, or they may be misinterpreting what's going on. There's a hodgepodge of, like, speculation of what that could be. But at the end of the day, any kind of, like, regular visits has never led to any good evidence of Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think if you had that predictability,
Right.
if
That's what
Bigfoot
I
was
say.
visiting
Yeah.
a location over and over again, there's predictability. You can test that claim. You can be there and
Right.
set up. like a whole shit ton of equipment to capture
Yeah.
something. So
And then, the simple answer to that, I'm not giving that answer. I'm saying the simple answer to that is they saw all this new activity show up and setting up their equipment, and they got shy and ran away, and they don't want to come around.
Yeah.
So you get that kind of thing happen, right? Which is
All right.
like,
So we can
good
counter it
answer, right?
and just say, you know what? Here, I'm going to visit you during a non-visitation time period where Bigfoot has never come to your house during this time. And I'm going to give you some simple cameras, some simple like video cameras like this.
Right? Yeah.
You just set them up in your house, pointing out the window. Just have them all going at the time where Bigfoot's going to show up. And let's start there. Let's start small.
Agreed.
And I think that would be phenomenal. I mean, I'll help out. I will donate some cameras to that.
All right.
I want them back after the experience, but yes, I will donate some cameras to that.
Okay.
To see if we can capture some evidence.
Well, fair enough. An offer from Kenny
There you go.
to the Bigfoot world, man, to actually get some evidence. I like it.
Always up for it. I am always. I mean,
So am I.
As you mentioned. I mean, I'm really busy. I have a packed schedule, but if there's an opportunity that you can almost guarantee me a sighting, I will make time for you, and I will go out and I will set up cameras. I will do whatever we have to do, either in stealth mode or not. We'll try and figure out, because I really want to see something. I want to see it. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad I've at least like piqued your interest.
I mean, I'm always interested. I've been interested in this stuff since I was a wee little lad.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this. So yeah, I'm game.
And by the way, Darby, we're mutual friends with Darby. And just so you know, Benjamin Radford's been on my show twice. So
yes, I saw that. Ben's my editor. So yeah.
Yeah, I like Ben. People in the Bigfoot world talk shit about Ben. I'm sorry, I didn't know if I could curse or not.
Oh, you can say whatever you want here.
Yeah, people in the Bigfoot world talk crap about Ben. I love Ben.
That's a good guy. I mean, he's my editor. He's my friend, colleague. I mean, we work together, but he brings up good points, and we share that philosophy. We're not here to make anyone look stupid. We're not here to, discredit everyone. We want to really see something. We want to help improve the quality of the work that's out there.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to do too, man. I'm just that much deeper into this one particular thing than the two of you are.
Okay.
But yeah, so, I share the same vision. Absolutely.
Next question we got is from Mark. So why are people seeing 8-foot tall monkey men unless it exists, or are all on mushrooms?
That's a good question. One of the possibilities that I've thought in my head as an explanation, going through the different possibilities of why that would happen, is some kind of hallucination that only happens in these kind of areas. And I don't know, some kind of exposed spore in the air, I'm not saying, again, it's just a thought in my head. Could it be that there is an influence from the environment, which is possible, that's physically possible, that is making people have, for lack of a better term, hallucinations or delusions or something like that, like along those lines. Here's the thing. Nobody's ever done a scientific study to show that happens,
Right.
So I can't reference any science that shows that that's a thing. It's just a hypothesis, and it's a possible one, I think.
So my answer to that would be, first, I the way it's framed, and I'm not trying to be mean here, Mark, but it's framed in a black and white fallacy question, because you're only given two options, and there are many more options.
1,000 in between.
There are,
Yeah.
I mean, and we got into it a little bit before the break, how misperceptions can be made. People can also make up stories. You know, if
And
somebody
all of
wants
that
to,
happens.
yeah, it
All
all
of that
happens.
happens. I don't deny that
Right.
stuff does happen. Yeah.
I mean, I think every case needs to be investigated on its own, a case by case. You can't group all of them together because,
Luck.
I mean, you're. I know, yeah, I know, and I totally agree with that. It is an impossible task.
Yeah, I mean,
for-
we have
to-
tens of thousands of reports,
Mhm.
documented reports. They've already, a lot of those have already been investigated and vetted by boots on the ground people that actually went there and talked to the people. And I'm talking about competent investigators, right? So I mean, you're never gonna like just take every person that has a Bigfoot story and like you can never get to the bottom of what happened between them and whatever happened
right
at that moment at that place.
And that's why, that's one of the reasons, like for myself, and I know Ben follows this when he can. It's, we want the best evidence. Like, what's
Best
your
evidence.
best case? Let's work from there down. Because if you can give us the best case with the best evidence, and we can look into that first, then that kind of sets the stage for the rest. It doesn't mean everything is not true or is true, but we're starting with the best you got, and then we work our way down. And yeah, I agree. It's an impossible task to go through every single case.
Yeah, that's
But-
I don't even think that's a starting point for any like further moving the ball down the field.
Yeah, I like doing that because it shows that there are other explanations. When we can investigate thoroughly, even if it's considered low hanging fruit, which is something that I get accused of a lot. It's
Me too.
I mean, it's low hanging fruit for, person A, but for person B that may be like scared shitless because they think this huge creature is visiting them, it's not low hanging fruit.
Well, brother, I'll tell you this right now. I could get you on a call right now in private. Not right now, but in the future. In the future, we can actually use this exact StreamYard link or one of mine that's dead afterwards. I could, if you want to talk to people that have seen these things up close and personal, I encourage you to do so. I really do. Like,
Well,
I think that's an important element to what we're discussing.
I agree. It's important to talk to the people, but again, it goes back to, you have to investigate each case by itself.
Sure. And you can vet them and investigate them on the spot.
Them, the scene. I mean, there's so much involved. It's not just taking someone's story.
Well, you're never going to be able to go back to, like, some guys I know have a story from 40 years ago. Some guys I know have the story from 30, 20 or 5. Like, you're never going to be able to go to that location and get any kind of trace evidence, obviously.
As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of them fall under the, that's a cool story.
Yeah, and I would be interested, given your position in the paranormal world, I'd be interested in your take of hearing these people out and what they have to say in their encounters, which is not dealing with a ghost. It's dealing with a, kind of flesh and blood. Like, what the hell is this thing? Like,
what are they seeing? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, when I offer possible explanations, or I wouldn't even say explanations, because unless I actually investigate and get a lot of data, I can't come to an explanation or a conclusion. But I can offer speculation, and it's not personal. Like, it's not, and many people do take it personally. And
these people, I promise you, most of these people, there's some I know that would take it personally, but most of these people, they wouldn't. They would understand because they're intelligent people. They're successful people in life. And I promise you, dude, like, they wouldn't, like, they would just talk to you, completely normal. Like, hey, no offense, man. I get your question and I'll answer.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's what I like. All right. What else we got, Donna? Jeff AF. I love Jeff F. Fuck. Jeff as fuck. Ever try using sounds of a distressed animal or a baby crying as a lure?
No, me not personally, because that's not what I do. I don't do the casting. Yeah. And I would never do that, ever. But yes, people in the Bigfoot world do, and some people will tell you that they've gotten results off that.
Okay.
There's one guy, Derek Randalls. He has a story. Again, it's just a story, right? He has a story of he recorded his at the time was his infant child crying. He recorded it on a cassette player. So this was a while back, right?
A while back, yeah.
Yeah.
I still have them.
yeah. And his story goes that, he'd already encountered these things. And he wanted more. And so his idea was to take this baby crying cassette recording out in the woods in a remote dump area, and just start blasting it. And he did that, and he got a reaction, and where he ended up stopping the tape, as what he would say is like it came charging towards the sound, and it was on the other side of the creek, and I stopped the tape right there. And so people have done that. They have stories about doing that, but that's not something I do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would try it. And I've been out when I went out and filmed the local TV show, they did that. They brought a big speaker out and they hooked it up to their phone and they played some sounds.
Right.
But nothing happened. And I don't know. It was in the middle of the cicada
oh God,
awakening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were standing in the dark and I probably had about 20 or 30 of them on me.
Yeah.
Because they just fly around and land. And I mean, I was more concerned with that. Like, there's bugs all over me.
And they're loud. I mean, yeah. So
they're loud.
The cicada event, the decibels are annoyingly loud, I'll say. Very annoying.
I mean, it didn't do anything, but I mean, that was only one time. And I'm a firm, I don't want to say believer because I don't really like doing it, but I follow the idea like one time is never good enough. Like I'll go out 2 or 3 or 4 times, do the same thing and just see.
Repeatable.
Yeah. I want to.
I mean, that's the scientific method. It has to be repeatable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm totally on board with that. Yeah.
What else we got?
What we got? Come
Let's
on.
see. Question for Kenny. Do you think Bigfoot, UFOs, and spirits and opening portals are all together? So yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks. Oh, wait, there you go. So I don't personally think Bigfoot exists. I know a lot of people, especially on the YouTube channel, are going to disagree with me, but I don't personally think he exists. UFOs, with just the basic knowledge that I know, I don't think they visited us. There's my dog.
Nice.
Ghosts, I don't have a belief in ghosts, and I certainly don't believe in portals. I know that they're out there. I know people do believe portals exist, but every time someone has told me there's a portal there, there's nothing. There's nothing measurable. There's nothing observable. There is simply nothing. So do I think they're all together? Honestly, I'll switch it up a little bit and say yes. I think they're all together in more of a imaginative way of thinking. So that's a nice way of saying I think it's all fantasy.
I will disagree with that 100%.
That's
but
okay.
yeah,
that's okay.
I mean, yeah, like so. As far as I'll chime in a little bit here. As far as portals go, like, and this happens in the Bigfoot world. the portal thing is a branch of the Bigfoot world, right?
Oh, is this what you were talking about? You referenced earlier the branch of.
Yeah, the different branch, the
Okay.
paranormal, or
This is new to me. So,
Yeah.
except
Oh, yeah,
for
dude.
let me put a disclaimer in there. Except for the $6 Million Man episode
right, yeah,
where Bigfoot
yeah,
appeared, this what you're
Oh,
approaching here is new to
There's
me.
a whole portal branch to the Bigfoot world.
Wow.
And what I tell them, what I ask them is, or tell them is like, we have no testable definition for what a portal even is, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so there's not even a testable definition for what it would be. Why do you claim that that's what it is when we don't even know what that would be? Again, like, other than your imagination on like pop culture, Star
Right.
Trek, wormholes, whatever, right? What's a portal? What's a portal?
What is it? What
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What's
And
the mechanism
no
by
one
which
can ever answer that question.
Right. Right. I mean, portals are very popular in paranormal. Ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts love portals because they're like portals from hell, portals from the afterlife, and it's a way for ghosts to come through. And it's like, all right, what's the mechanism here? What are we talking about?
Yeah, what is it?
What's measurable?
What is-
are we just going off your imagination?
Mhm.
Because you think it looks spooky, or is there something here that we can actually test? Because I'm all for it. We'll test it because I'm all for stepping through a portal to another dimension. I'll do it, but I need to know what you're basing this off of, not just your belief or your binge watching of
pop culture.
Stranger Things and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I need to know
Right.
what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. Next question. What do we got here? Who would I love these. Who would win in a fist fight to the death? A Squatch or a Yeti?
I don't know. I guess implying, Yeti is the, Himalayan mountains.
Version of Sasquatch.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to call it. I think a Yeti would win only because of the difference in atmospheric pressure, because they would have more endurance because they live higher up. And I think they would be able to last longer. That's I've trained. I've done martial arts in the past, and I've also trained with a restrictor mask, which gets you at a higher altitude.
Right.
So I know if you can at regular atmosphere down at sea level or around sea level, when you fight, you can go for maybe two minutes. Most people on average, probably a minute. But when you have a restrictor on and you're going at a higher atmosphere, maybe like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, big difference. So I think the Yeti would have an advantage in that. So that's my take. I'm gonna go with the Yeti.
Yeah, I can follow your logic on that, so I'll agree with you.
All right. Moving on.
We're doing great. We're doing great on time. One of my favorite questions I ask guests of Kenny's show: if you had your Bigfoot hunt dream team, who would be on your team? Not necessarily specific people, but professionals. So, like, you can say, like, I'd like to have an electrician on my team, something like that. That's what he means by profession.
My dream team is me and only me.
That would be Kenny's answer. And a
Yeah.
video camera to capture
There
it.
you go.
Just me.
Wow. Okay. So, like,
I can incorporate people as I go, but yeah, no, you talk about dream team. I am the dream team in my mind. Yeah.
I love it.
Wow. All right.
Great answer.
And I don't mean that arrogantly.
I
swear
know.
I don't.
No, it didn't come across that way at all.
I'm not being a narcissist. It's just that I understand the best tactic for observing these things,
Mm-hmm.
and no one in the Bigfoot world is listening to me. I have more, could get more ears on me in the skeptic world than I could the Bigfoot world. Yeah. So
All right. Next question. What do we got? Redman. Could they see Bigfoot because they've been programmed to see it, mistaking that for a bear, perhaps?
who programmed them?
So I guess it's
Yeah.
more not necessarily programmed. I don't think that's the
I think this
the
is
most-
back when you were talking about
we were
camping
talking
people,
about
like when they were
misperceptions and
going
stuff.
camping.
I think
and-
it's more primed. If you're primed to see a Bigfoot, like if you're going on a Bigfoot hunting weekend,
Right.
and you're in woods where there's lots of stories, and you've read all the stories, and you go out into the woods and it's dark, or
Sure.
I mean anything
Sure.
you might be primed to see.
That could happen. Absolutely 100%. People can be primed to see Bigfoot when they don't see him. But those are not the things I'm talking about when it comes to the legitimacy of the phenomena. So yeah, I mean, I agree. People can be primed. There can be confirmation bias. You could even hoax somebody. Like if you knew where they were and they were looking for Bigfoot, you could legitimately hoax them. Those things could absolutely happen.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to relate a story, and I think I've told it like once before, but we went on one of these Bigfoot camping weekends, and lots of people involved. We got to know the owners of the campground where this conference was held, and they had a ghillie suit for me.
Right.
And we talked to them, and they said, "Hey, if you want to wear this, we'll give it to you." So, well, first we took it out in a trash bag because I was not going to walk across the grounds in that because there were way too many people.
Right.
But we walked across. We went to our cabins, which were like at the end of the campground. So we only had woods around us. I put it on, and I walked through the woods, and a buddy of mine filmed me while we were doing it, and he posted it on a Bigfoot a community website, like a Facebook
Sure.
page, and said, "Hey, I filmed this. What do you guys think?" And we were really surprised that it was half and half.
Ah, yes.
Like we had people saying it was fake
Mhm.
and giving reasons why, and other people saying this looks real. And I was like, this is, I mean, when you see if you saw the video, it was the dumbest thing because I
Right.
couldn't see.
Yeah, right.
It was very heavy, and I'm trying to cross a little creek that was probably like 8 inches wide, and I couldn't do it because it was so heavy, so hot, and I couldn't see it. I think I fell when I jumped
Yeah.
across. I jumped across and fell, but I got up and walked away, and still people were like, "That looks legit." And it was just amazing. I mean, it wasn't like a formal experiment or anything. It was just, let's see what happens. You know, I was curious about what people would say. And it was, I mean, even at the end, like at the end of the day, my buddy posted like, "No, we just filmed the guy in a ghillie suit.
Right.
That's it. It wasn't anything real. We just wanted to see what was going on." And people
Yeah.
still believed it was real. So, I mean, priming does have a big deal. A big part of it sometimes, and we have
yeah.
to consider that. We really have to
Yeah,
consider
again, what I refer to smothering it in Bigfoot sauce.
Mhm.
that. I like
Yeah.
that. I really like that. That's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that.
No,
give you
yeah,
credit.
I mean, no,
I'll give you credit
use
for
it. Just use it because, like, that's what it is, you know.
All right. What else we got? We got a few more.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll take
Thank
over. Yeah. All right. Everybody say goodbye to Donna. She has to go pick up our son,
Bye, guys. It
so
was
I'll
a
be
great
taking
night.
over.
See you, Donna.
Oh my goodness.
It's
No,
all
controls are in my
Kenny
hands now. You're all screwed. All right. So Redman says, since Scooby-Doo is the greatest mystery solver of all time on Earth, don't have to be sorry. I totally agree. I'm totally support the gang. How do you think he'd go about solving the Bigfoot mystery? I think,
Well,
he had. I think there's a couple episodes.
yeah, I mean, that's an interesting pop culture kind of question, you
Right.
know. I don't think he would. I mean, that's all, true crime kind of stuff going on there. Although, what was interesting about the Scooby-Doo series was, right, like the sort of projection of supernatural in a lot of those episodes that turned out to be fake, like hoaxes,
Right.
Yeah, so who's getting the hood pulled off their head at
Right.
the end of the Bigfoot story? No one. And I could be wrong about that, but I say no one. Like,
Okay.
this is not a Scooby-Doo mystery.
All right.
Yeah.
So I would say it was Old Man Withers at the end. That's always who it is. And you don't have to be sorry, Red Man. Scooby-Doo, I think it was probably one of the best cartoons ever because it just it's taught you critical thinking.
It did. It really did.
In a roundabout way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you go back and look at the old episodes, it's sketchy. I mean, sometimes the ghost did stuff that even a guy in a sheet would not be able to do. So they presented it in a way like it really looked haunted in the beginning or whatever alien or creature, but then they solved the mystery. They put some clues together. But it taught kids to, hey, let me think. Yeah, let me think. There might be another explanation for this. Let me look deeper into this. So definitely one of the best shows ever.
I agree.
All right. So with that, let me take that off. Get to this. Central Florida Bigfoot. What is Squatch Talk? Hey, Pat.
That's my buddy Matt. Hey, he's just saying hello.
Awesome.
He knows what Squatch Talk is.
You know what Squatch Talk. Squatch Talk is your YouTube channel.
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So, last question. Why you think there are not more hunters trying to shot or seeing this? I don't know what this question means.
I think you mean shoot.
Shoot, yeah.
Like shot, shoot. Right. So the hunter thing.
Yes. Yeah. Where do you land on that?
Again, I mean, honestly, Kenny, all I can fall back on is anecdotal stuff. And it may make you uncomfortable or like question me or listen. All I can tell you is this: when a hunter encounters one of these things in the woods, whatever they are, they unanimously have the encounter, and they unanimously report back the dumbest thing I could have done was shot at it, but either because of firepower, there wasn't enough firepower to bring this thing down before it could have killed me. And that's not always the case, but for the most part, when hunters are armed, and of course, dude, they could be turkey hunting, they could be duck hunting, like what they might have shotguns, that have widespread patterns.
Yeah.
But even I've had people, had 30-06 in their hands and look at this thing, piss their pants, and then say after the fact, there's no way this gun would have taken it down. And that's a little bit of a head scratcher to me because I'm thinking headshot, like
right.
Like if I had to shoot a gorilla in the head, it'd be dead. That's not something I want to do, though, right? I don't want to get into a confrontation with the gorilla where I have to shoot in the head. So you have to incorporate the actual human factor of I don't want to do this, and so that comes into play too. And but I'll tell you, a lot of hunters armed with good weapons, whether it be 223s, 5.56, up the caliber range, say it wasn't enough firepower. They did not want to shoot it. So anecdotally, that's the best answer I can give to your question.
Good.
It's just what I've heard. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's. I'm not for the shooting a Bigfoot just to get a body. If they exist, and again, like I said earlier, I don't think they exist. But if they do, I certainly don't want someone just killing a creature just so we have a specimen. Because that's like, I kind of compare that to the people that claim to be abducted by aliens. Like, I don't. That's another race coming here and looking at us like Bigfoot and saying,
Right.
"Oh, well, I'm just going to take one. I'm going to do some butt stuff with them, and it's okay because we're just experimenting. It's science." I don't think that's a good idea. I would rather people shoot them with cameras, like
too.
good high definition 4K video would be nice.
Me too.
That would be good. Except we don't ever get that. But the
Not
whole
yet.
thing about shooting a creature just to have a specimen, I don't agree with that. Because again, like, what if you're mistaken? What if you're mistaken and you think you're seeing a Bigfoot, and for whatever reason you are mistaken and you kill someone?
Dude, yeah. I mean, how tragic and horrible would that be?
You're done.
Mm.
There's too many stories that I've come across over the years where police or state troopers, not just in the big news stories that you see, but on hunting trips, have misidentified a person as a deer or something like that and shot and killed a small child. We don't want that.
Yeah,
So,
and I'll tell you this also. One of the other things that these people say in these particular situations is they have an understanding that it's not a person. No way this is a person, but the features on their face were so human-like that that was the reason it gave them pause to not shoot it. Because they know they're not shooting like some boogity boo guy in a ghillie suit. They know that 100%. They know that what they're looking at doesn't exist on this planet because nobody ever taught them about these things in school. But the features on their face look so human-like, there's no way they can pull the trigger. So you get that too from some of the guys armed. And there's also a thought, which is, I think, a good thought. Yeah, that one might be standing in front of you. There might be 2 or 3 over here. So
the Jurassic Park philosophy.
Right.
Yeah.
So you pull that trigger on that one. Is it unfair to assume there might be 1 or 2 or 3 more around, watching, and you're toast. They could pick you up and slam you against a tree and end your life quickly.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, so we are at the end of the show. This has been a fun conversation. I have enjoyed this thoroughly. It has been fun having you on, Pat. I'm glad you reached out and we got a chance to set this up and talk. This has been phenomenal. So at the end, where can people find you if they want to know more information about you or watch more of you if they have not already?
Squatch Talk on YouTube. That's the channel name, Squatch Talk. I have a Squatch Talk Facebook group as well. And my email, if you want to contact me, is available on both those places. I'm not hard to get a hold of. So yeah.
I mean, I found you.
So Facebook, YouTube, Squatch Talk, you're gonna hit my channel.
Awesome. So again, I mean, it was great having you on. I enjoyed this talk. I mean, this is the kind of conversation that I really enjoy, because it's not like we agree on everything the entire show, because that can get boring, honestly. And when we disagree and we talk about why we disagree, I think that's great. I think that stirs up conversation in the chat room, and it certainly did. I mean, there was a lot of comments going back and forth, so really cool. So again, I'm going to play my outro video here, but stay on the line. Don't click out yet, because I want to talk about the show a little bit, and everyone else. I want to do my announcements. Let me see here. I have a banner that comes up. There we go. So Saturdays at 8 p.m. I do a show called Three Tortured Souls with Dave Schumacher and Tim Vickers. Tomorrow, I have no idea what the topic is. I am not prepared whatsoever, but I'm sure I'm going to be spending most of tomorrow researching. July, so that's good. Skeptic Cow, I already did. That's over. I really have to update this. I did the Para-Unity Conference. The next thing I have is in about 2 weeks, August 19th, 21st, is the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I'll be out there. Donna will also be set up on her Lucky Tiki Creations booth. I'll be set up on my Skeptical Help booth. And the rumor is I was volunteered to be in the dunk tank for the for some time. So if you want to come out and dunk a skeptic at a paranormal conference, it's all for charity. It all goes to Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors and kids with cancer. So it's a good cause. Come on out and have some fun. October 20th to 23rd, I'll be in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'll be speaking at SciCon, which is the big science conference of the year. And that's going to be fun. I'm actually going to be talking about some believers and skeptics working together, my experiences and how we can work together. And then the some people that don't want to work together and how to handle that or how to deal with that. So if you have the means, please come out. Vegas. That's all I have to say. I'm not serious.
Yes, baby.
Oh my God. With that, that's all I have. And I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. And remember, never stop learning. And I'll see you next week. Bye.